Welcome to the afternoon session of the March 26, 2024 Board of County Commission meeting here in Seminole County. We are ready to start our program. I would bring your attention to any speakers that desire to speak from the public. Out in the lobby, you'll find forms. Green if you just want written comments. Yellow if you want to speak on any of the agenda items this afternoon. If you'll bring those to Dominique, the clerk, right up front here with her hand up, she'll make sure she gets those entered in and we'll get you staged to speak. The first thing I will do is ask the County Attorney, Ms. Kate Latore, to read the rules for the quasi-judicial portion of this meeting.
Certainly. Good afternoon. While the board welcomes comments from all persons with an interest in these proceedings, Florida law requires that the board's decision in quasi-judicial actions be supported by competent, substantial evidence presented to the board during the hearings on the applications. Competent, substantial evidence is such evidence as a reasonable mind would accept as adequate to support a conclusion. There must be a factual basis in the record to support opinion testimony from both expert and non-expert witnesses. Persons presenting testimony may rely on factual information that they present that is presented by county staff, that the applicant presented, or on factual information included in the county staff report to support their testimony. All persons who present written materials to the board for consideration must ensure that a copy of such materials is provided to the clerk for inclusion in the board's record of proceedings and official minutes. Thank you.
Thank you very much. This time I'll ask, does any commissioner have any ex parte, and if so, identify such?
Mine has been submitted, and I had one phone call concerning the flea world.
Okay.
Not you.
Anyone else?
I had ex parte that was submitted for the record.
My ex parte
I've had
was
none.
submitted electronically. Okay. Seeing that, we will move on. I'll look for proof of publication.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Hearing none, unanimously passes. First item up is item 31, the Santa Ana RV Storage Small Scale Future Land Use Map Amendment and Rezone, item 2024-0312. First, our staff will give a presentation. Secondly, the applicant, if they desire, will also give any comments or presentations they desire. And then we'll go to the public for public input or comments. Once we have completed that, we'll go back to the applicant for any rebuttal that may be necessary, and then we'll go to the board for consideration. This is listed as Ms. Rebecca Hammock as a presenter, but I think we have Joy Giles to give the presentation. Good afternoon.
Yes, good afternoon. Joy Giles, Principal Planner for the Planning and Development Division. The applicant is requesting approval of the Santa Ana RV Storage Small Scale Future Land Use Map Amendment from Low Density Residential to Industrial and rezone from A1 Agriculture to C3 General Commercial and Wholesale on approximately 1 acre located on the north side of Hillview Drive, west of Matthews Road. The purpose of the request is to incorporate the 1 acre parcel into the existing outdoor storage site adjacent to the north, south, east, and west. The previously approved development, known as the Adult Toy Storage Facility, permits those uses under the C3 and M1A very light industrial zoning districts, including outdoor storage. The applicant proposes to utilize the 1 acre parcel for additional storage. The requested industrial future land use allows a maximum floor area ratio of 0.65 and permits the requested C3 zoning classification. As previously stated, the property is surrounded by the adult toy storage development with approved access points from Hillview Drive and Matthews Road. Staff finds the requested land use amendment and rezone to be consistent with the comprehensive plan and compatible with the trend of development in the area. Heavy commercial and industrial uses have been established around the properties adjacent to the north, south, east, and west on the subject site since 1999. On March 6, 2024, the Planning and Zoning Commission Board met and recommended unanimously to recommend approval of the request. Staff requests that the Board of County Commissioners adopt the ordinance enacting a small-scale future land use map amendment from low-density residential to industrial, and adopt the ordinance enacting a rezone from A1 to C3 on approximately 1 acre located on the west side of Matthews Road, north of Hillview Drive. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Giles. Any questions for staff? Seeing none, is the applicant here and desire to make any presentation?
No, President.
Okay. Seeing none, do we have any speaker forms?
No,
Madam
sir.
Clerk? Seeing no speaker forms, no one here to speak on this matter? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. This is Commissioner Constantine's district. Commissioner?
Move approval of the small-scale land use amendment.
Second.
Motion second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed, like sign. Seeing none, carries unanimously.
Chairman
Thank-
Tenbach?
Yes.
The motion only included the small-scale
I'm
comp
sorry.
plan amendment, so if we could have another motion for the rezoning, that'd be great.
My mistake, and I apologize. So I will, let me just find exactly where the motion is. Here it is. The staff requests the Board of County Commissioners, I move to adopt the ordinance enacting the small-scale future land use map amendment from low-density residential to industrial, and adopt the ordinance enacting the rezone from A1 agriculture to C3 general commercial and wholesale, approximately 1 acre, located on the west side of Matthews Road, approximately 600 feet north of Hillview Drive.
Second.
Motion second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Seeing none, carries unanimous.
Sorry, I was trying to be brief.
Thank you, Madam Assistant State or County Attorney. I was about to give you a raise.
I don't know if that would be a raise.
Or demotion.
Good job.
Thank you. Next item up is item number 32. This is item 2024-0314, Reagan Center PD Major Amendment Rezone. Looks like Ms. Giles will present this as well.
Yes, sir. Commissioner, the applicant is requesting a continuance of this item to a date uncertain at this time in order for staff and the applicant to further evaluate utility requirements.
Okay. Any questions of staff? Seeing none, is the applicant here? Sir, would you like to make a statement?
No, sir.
Do you want a continuance?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You want to step up to the podium and give us your name for the record, please?
You know not to give him a microphone.
Want to see me suffer. Randall Morris, 1603 North Indian River Road, New Smyrna Beach. Sir, what would you like me to say?
Do you confer with staff's recommendation?
Yes, and it really made my drive over here worth it.
Okay.
Just to be able to say it.
Very good. Any,
You all now, just so you know, your board needs to know, you now require people to show up for a continuance, even though it was agreed to by staff.
And we like that.
Yes.
Good.
Yeah. So
Any
could I-
questions?
Yeah, so just
Commissioner
a
Lockhart.
clarification, because we do have two different processes, one for when the applicant is requesting a continuance and one for when staff is requesting the continuance. So can we just have a little clarification on who's actually requesting the continuance?
Yes, I'll be happy to provide that. So we received an email, county staff received an email on March 19th, from Mr. Morris asking for a continuance with no date provided. And staff was in agreement because there's further things to work on. And pursuant to your rules and procedures for the Board of County Commissioners, if an applicant requests a continuance, then the applicant should be in attendance at the meeting which the public hearing or other agenda item is scheduled, and be prepared for the board to consider and act upon the item in question. So that's what's in your rules and procedures. There is a process for the county manager, as you know, to continue items, so that's the other option. But this came in through an email through the applicant, so that's the procedure that we've followed.
Mr. Chairman, there's one additional item to that Ms. Bogert is not aware of. Staff requested that I put a request into you. So this is a joint request by staff and by the applicant, so we can work this out. Just as a point of clarity, it is because there is no utility agreement. No one would enter into a developer's agreement without a utility agreement unless they're out of their mind. And the utility agreement is far from done. This probably will come back to you sometime this summer, hopefully early summer. We appreciate all the work we've done with staff. This is the only outstanding item. But it is a joint request. In no way should the record, and I'd like the record reflect, this is a joint request of staff. And I'm seeing Mr. Gray nod his head. That was my point about showing up, but that was it. Good to see you all. Thank you.
So I have an inquiry. So are you having productive conversation at this point with staff?
Yes.
Okay, Great. Very good. Any more inquiries?
No.
Seeing none, thank you, Mr. Morris, for being here
Thank you
today.
all.
Ms. Giles, if you would, please. As the district commissioner, I have a question. We've heard some conversation here. Is that fairly memorialized, what occurred?
No idea.
That there was a joint agreement that it should be
Yes.
continued?
Yes, sir. Staff recommended a continuance in order to continue to work out the utility agreement issues.
Okay.
And the applicant agreed to that.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
So,
Well,
so then I'm going to,
Commissioner Lockhart?
so I'm going to ask then that when we agenda an item, that it's clear to the board, because we did make that administrative change because we had so many people who were asking for continuances, not staff, they were just applicants, and it became a habitual issue of continuance after continuance. So we had to that was our way of reining that in and saying, no, you have to come in person. So we just need to make sure if this is something that is truly, genuinely a joint request, then
It needs to be stated.
then
right?
staff can,
Right.
make it a staff request. I think.
And to Commissioner Lockhart's point,
Well, that's what it said in the red, but that's
Right.
not what it said in the
Right.
item.
Yeah.
correct.
There's an opportunity to make it a little more clear.
Absolutely.
So, thank you.
Right.
And so noted.
I think clarity goes a long way in these kind of matters, and to Commissioner Lockhart's point, the reason we had to take that action is because we had several habitual offenders that were doing this at the last moment, like the evening before.
Right.
And I'm assuming this happened at some juncture far in advance of yesterday or the last couple days.
And it was
So I think
unfair
some
to our
clarity.
citizens as well, because they
Correct.
were all here, ready to,
That's
some
right.
people had taken their day off of work to be here, and then they come and show up only to find out that the item had been pulled.
Exactly.
Anyway, thank you, that's all.
Anything else? Is there anyone here from the public that desires to speak on this matter? Have you filled a form out, sir?
No, sir, I have not.
Okay. You'll need to fill out one of these forms.
Okay.
And Mr.
come
Chairman,
on up.
is this to speak on the continuance?
This is to speak on the continuance, yes. You're here to speak on the continuance only, not about the project.
I can't speak intelligently on that, so I'll just waste your time.
Okay, thank you very much. We appreciate your direct honesty on that.
Understand.
Thank you. All right, anyone else from the public?
No, sir.
Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. It's my district. I will move a motion to continue to a date uncertain, item 2024-0314, Reagan Center PD Major Amendment Rezone.
Second.
Motion second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed, like sign? Seeing none, passes unanimously. Sir, if you would pay attention as things progress, it'll come back on the agenda at some point when staff and the applicant get things worked out.
And
It'll be
it will-
posted on our website.
And it will be re-advertised as
Right.
well.
Very good. Thank you very much. All right, next item up is item number 33. This is a legislative public hearing, 2024 Capital Improvements Project Schedule Annual Update. This is also supposed to be Rebecca Hammock, but it's not. Item 2024-0162.
All right, good afternoon. For the record, Tyler Reed, Senior Planner for Development Services. Today, I'm presenting the 2024 Capital Improvements Project Schedule Annual Update. The capital improvements element of the Seminole County Comprehensive Plan is required by the Community Planning Act, Chapter 163, Florida statutes, and is intended to enable implementation of the plan's goals, objectives, and policies. Each year, the adopted schedule of capital improvements is updated to ensure that the schedule matches the county's newly adopted fiscal year budget and the adopted 5-year capital improvements program. The proposed updated schedule of capital improvements includes only those improvements previously reviewed and adopted by the Board of County Commissioners through the county's annual budget process. In 2011, the Florida legislature enacted legislation allowing the schedule of capital improvements to be updated by ordinance without amending the comprehensive plan. The Seminole County Public Schools fiscal year 23-24 capital long-range Plan and the Metro Plan Orlando fiscal year 23-24 through 27-28 Orlando Urban Area Transportation Improvement Program are adopted by reference in the Seminole County 2024 Capital Improvements Project Schedule. Staff requests the Board of County Commissioners adopt the ordinance containing the 2024 Capital Improvements Project Schedule Annual Update for the Seminole County Comprehensive Plan.
Thank you, Mr. Reed. Any inquiries to staff? Commissioner Lockhart.
And Tyler, I feel like you're somewhat handicapped in this scenario because almost everything in this capital improvement plan has nothing to do with planning, in the sense that it's not part of your budget. So my questions, feel free, we can punt to the county manager or to some other member of the staff. But we talk about levels of service and what the county has established for various areas. And one of them that I've asked about in the past is recreation and open space. And we've said that our adopted level of service is 3.6 acres of recreational land per 1,000 population, of which 1.8 is to be developed. So do we have an update of where we are in meeting that level of service?
Not as of yet. I'm getting that. I sent that over to Mr. Durr's office to get that for you. So I'll update the whole board on that as soon as I get that.
That'd be great. And we have other levels of service for
Right.
sewer and other things
Right.
as well, but that seems to be something that we were talking about as a hot topic in terms of budgeting.
Right, and I believe it was covered in the master plan that we just did. I just need to, he's verifying that, and
Okay.
he's going to give it back to us.
And then my other questions, page 644 of the agenda, under transportation, it's capital project delivery number 02007015, which is the Wekiva Trail Tunnel at tunnels at 434 and 436. This board, 2 years ago, I believe, allocated funds to put those tunnels in, and we were waiting to hear about the funding mechanism from those. So I see that we still have $20 million allocated out into '26. Do we know if the funding from the state is forthcoming?
And that's I'll provide you an update on that as well. So, when this capital improvement element, when this was adopted in our budget over the summer, at the budget work sessions, and then we adopt it with our annual budget, even though you only really adopt the next year. Those are just, we call it the out years to complete, look at projects just for planning purposes. And so at this work session that we're going to have this summer, we will have a detailed CIP, or capital improvements report for the board,
Okay.
so that we can look not only at what's scheduled for next year, but in the out years as well. However, there are a couple of questions I know that you had that you shared with me in our briefing and stuff, and I'll get you those.
Okay.
Those
And the reason
updates.
I'm bringing them up now is because, of course, 2026 for construction of 20 million, but leading up to that, we have close to $5 million of planning. And if we're planning for tunnels that we're not going to be getting the funding for, then perhaps we should pivot and plan for, overpasses.
Right.
And I think that the motion for those, there was a caveat to that motion. So we'll want to go back and watch that.
Gotcha.
And then the other thing, Mr. Reed, you mentioned that everything in here is something that this board has approved through the budgeting process, but I have to be honest with you, I do not recall ever talking about putting cabins at a youth center, and I don't know where that is.
Again, I'll provide you an update. That is in one of the out years, correct, if I'm not mistaken?
It is.
Yeah.
But if we're going to say that everything here is something that this board has approved, I don't recall that, unless somebody else on this board remembers having done that. That's on page 641.
And I'll follow up with you on that.
Okay. All right.
Any further inquiries? Staff can just jog my memory, but didn't we just do in the last couple months a bar on the trail system that Commissioner Lockhart's discussing?
We did.
Just recently do
Yes,
that?
yes.
I thought so.
Yes.
It was for a
months
couple
ago.
$100,000.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just
Yeah.
wanted to make sure we're talking about the same thing.
She's talking about something different that's in the 5-year CIP program of a specific project that I'll follow up on. But you're right, there were a couple trail projects that we did a budget amendment
Okay.
recently.
Great.
I have
Thank
one
you.
more. I'm so
Yes,
sorry.
Commissioner Lockhart.
Looking at the school district's five-year plan, page 649, line 83, they have budgeted for impact fee studies and their fish audit every 3 years. We didn't see the one from 3 years ago, but since they have it budgeted for 23, 24, we should certainly see that one. Thank you.
Okay. Any further inquiries? Anyone here from the public to speak on this matter?
No, sir.
Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing.
Mr. Chairman, motion to approve the ordinance containing the 2024 capital improvement projects schedules annual update for the Seminole County Comprehensive Plan is submitted here today.
Second.
Motion and second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, like sign. Hearing none, motion carries unanimously. And I think what I'm hearing is there's some additional briefings that need to occur
Yes.
on this, and believe that can happen in the next couple weeks?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yes. We're on it now.
Okay.
So I'll follow up.
That
And
work
in all
okay, Commissioner
fairness,
Lockhart?
I shared these with Mr. Gray yesterday as I was going through it, and we were doing our agenda review, and, these are not hair-on-fire things,
Sure.
but as we see them and they come before us, I feel like if I don't point it out, then we're not,
Right.
going to
Sure.
remember to
Exactly.
go back and tackle them.
And I appreciate it.
Thank you. All right, next item up is item 34, the evaluation and appraisal report, ear-based comprehensive plan amendment, and item number 2024-0171, also going to be presented by Mr. Tyler Reed.
Thank you, Chair. Again, for the record, Tyler Reed, Senior Planner for Development Services. So we are finally at the finish line for the year. It's been a very long process, as you know. So this slide kind of details where we've been with the process. Over the year, we've had 3 work sessions with the board, a community meeting, and an LPA work session, and a transmittal hearing that took place last December. This meeting will authorize the adoption of the ear-based amendments to the Seminole County Comprehensive Plan. So to kind of give a brief summary of our major updates here, we did some changes to the flu element and other elements. Some of the updates include the removal of all non-policy sections and all elements to streamline and establish a policy-based comprehensive plan, a recognition of the future land use element for more coherent structure, and to align with the vision goals. We incorporated the necessary updates from multiple departments, updated the sanitary element to align with the Florida statutes, and we included the recognition of rural enclaves outside of the east rural area. In addition to the vision-based elements, we are organizing the future land use element. The current organization of the future land use element is modeled on the Central Florida Regional Growth Plan, How Shall We Grow? The plan was done on a regional level with community support. And this new organization gives the functionality of the comprehensive plan to the community. So the county is dedicated to protecting our wildlife and natural resources through the preservation and enhancement of natural habitats and sustainable management of vital natural resources, including air, water, energy, and land. We introduced new objectives and policies to include a habitat, dark skies, and green buildings policy, and reorganized existing policies to improve cohesiveness and clarity. We are protecting Florida's environment and water systems through our updated policies reflecting areas with the Basin Management Action Plan and implementing enhanced septic tank requirements and wastewater treatment. The intent here is to encourage efficient use of land, housing, choices, and economically vibrant, active places that enable multimodal transportation. Our goals were to streamline the current comprehensive plan, which had a lot of existing language based on the How Shall We Grow plan, but there was a lot of repetition, and we had standards for incentive programs that were not being utilized by developers. The county is committed to supporting rural lifestyles and landscapes and preserving the rural character throughout protected rural neighborhoods, natural resources, and maintaining economic viability of these areas. As I mentioned earlier, the county will help preserve rural enclaves for the areas of the county outside of the East Rural area and help maintain their rural character. Another area we looked at was the revision of the cluster development policy and clarifying the existing language on clustering and density bonus in the R10 future land use. There are two other goals within the FLU element that did not have any substantial changes, but we highlight them here so that we can ensure the county's commitment to pursuing these objectives, and that is enhancing existing places and property rights. So staff requests that the Board of County Commissioners authorize adoption of the year-based amendments to the Seminole County Comprehensive Plan, amending the text and exhibits of the elements of the comprehensive plan as required by Chapter 163.3191 Florida statutes, and authorize county staff to transmit the adopted year-based amendments to the Florida Department of Commerce. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Any inquiries by staff or by the commission? Seeing none. Anybody here from the public to speak on these matters?
No, sir.
Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing and we'll go to the board for action. Commissioner Herr?
Yes, Chairman, I move to authorize the adoption of the year-based amendments to the Seminole County Comprehensive Plan, amending the text and exhibits of the elements of the comprehensive plan as required by Chapter 163.3191 Florida statutes, and authorize the county staff to transmit the adopted year-based amendments to the Florida Department of Commerce.
Second.
Motion second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Seeing none, carries unanimously.
Congratulations, Rebecca and team.
Oh, yes.
Big work there for multiple years. Good stuff. Thank you all very much.
We should probably let the public know who are watching this for the first time that this is not the first time we're seeing this, that this is the culmination of many meetings and lots of work sessions. And so if there were no questions, it's not because
Right.
we didn't ask them before.
In several years.
For several years.
And, you know, it'd probably be wise to point out on the How Shall We Grow, Seminole County is the only county that adopted the How Shall We Grow formula. Way back when it first became an issue, or was a thing. So many of the surrounding counties decided not to, yet we did. So I think that speaks volumes of not only the elected officials, but those staff members that help support that as well. So good work.
Great.
Next item is the county attorney's report. Ms. Kate Latoro.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. At the last meeting, you asked for an update on a few legal issues, one of them being the status of the River Cross litigation. This was the easy one to report on, so I'll do that one today, and then you'll get more information on the other item forthcoming.
Okay.
So the information I'm going to provide to you is very high level today. This is still ongoing litigation, so everything that I'm going to publicly state is included in documents that have been filed in the lawsuit and is available to the public. If you'd like to know any more details or have any further information beyond what I talk about today, just give me a call and we can do a briefing outside of the public setting. Well, as you may recall, the county has been working on its recovery of over $400,000 of attorney's fees and costs, which it was awarded in the River Cross litigation. To date, River Cross Land Company has not paid the county $1 of its fee judgment. In February, the county served River Cross with a notice of intent to serve a subpoena to produce documents on Truist Bank, to seek Truist to produce certain financial records and other financial documents for, like including bank account information for CED Strategies LLC and Christopher Dorworth and Rebecca Dorworth, each of which are closely affiliated with the River Cross Land Company LLC. River Cross responded by filing a motion for protective order and asked to stay discovery. The court did grant the motion to stay discovery and then ordered the county to respond to Rivercross's motion for a protective order. The county filed its response on March 1st, arguing that the protective order should be denied as the subpoena to Truist is relevant and necessary for the county to collect on its fee judgment and to determine the extent of the relationship between CED Strategies LLC, Christopher Dorworth, Rebecca Dorworth to Rivercross Land Company, and that the law supports the process that the county is undertaking to find out that information. Currently, that, as I said, that was filed on March 1st, so the position we're in today is waiting for the court to rule on the motion and the county's response. And when we get a court order on that, we will update you again. And that concludes my report.
Thank you very much. Any inquiries of the county attorney on this matter? Seeing none? Anything else? That's it? Nope, that's it. All right, next we'll move to the county manager's report. Mr. Gray?
I was going to report on Yarborough, but I got the pleasure to do that this morning, right hot off the presses, so no other report, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Great. On that item, for those that are here this afternoon that may not be aware and weren't here this morning, the state has decided and made the decision to purchase the Yarborough Ranch, which will now be incorporated as part of the Little Big Econ State Park, which I think is a win-win for the county and so forth. So for those that weren't aware of that, I'll be asking my fellow commissioners to support us writing a letter to the cabinet thanking them for them considering and actually purchasing the ranch later in the meeting. So with that said, we'll move on next to our district commissioner reports. First up is Commissioner Delary.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just have a couple of brief items. I wanted to thank everyone and also OEP for the event that they put on in the middle of March, which was the barbecue in downtown Orlando. It was very successful. And then I also wanted to thank, I was at the Taste of Oviedo this past weekend, the 30th anniversary. I was actually at the lifeboat booth helping them get the word out for anti-trafficking. Jill, who's the CEO there, I know that Commissioner Constantine's very involved in that organization as well. I saw him there as well, and I just wanted to thank Jill for allowing me to be there and to help spread the word. And then also on Saturday, there was the robotics competition for the regions at UCF, and I was there all morning. It was truly amazing to see the students of all of Central Florida and the region. In fact, there was a couple of schools outside the country that were participating, and it was quite amazing scene to see how they were using robots and what they were doing in the competition. I think that staff did a phenomenal job, and there's a lot of big effort from the students that were very involved in that. And with that, Mr. Chairman, I just want to wish everybody a happy Easter.
Thank you, Commissioner Delary. Next up is Commissioner Constantine, District 3.
Thank you very much. And I just wanted to give first of all, congratulations on the Yarborough to all of you. We've worked very hard on this, but and so has so many other people and the staff and everything. And this is just a phenomenal win, and done in record speed. Mm-hmm. And that is just amazing. I did want to give a shout out to the city of Castleberry. Over the course of the last couple of weeks, I've been to a number of different events there. The Springs, or the Jazz Festival that they had 2 weeks ago. This past week at their Arts Center, they had an event for the Taste of the Arts, and they're just doing a really phenomenal job in building up a reputation of art, jazz, and everything in the community, and such another area for all of Seminole County. All of our 7 cities are just phenomenal when it comes to the live and the play and the work and all having their community centers, and just making it a wonderful experience for the people that live there. Same goes with Altamont Springs with the Uptown Arts Expo this past weekend. Commissioner Deloria and I attended the opening of the preview opening of the Good Pour that many of us, were involved with, and getting that business open. I got to tell you, I was very impressed. And again, what they had indicated in commitment to the charities along every single aisle, there was, this charity will get this charity will get that, and that was just a phenomenal new business here in Seminole County. Of course, the Oviedo on March 23rd had the taste of Oviedo. As Commissioner Delory said, I spent, after he left, Commissioner Delory left, I spent the rest of the time at the lifeboat project. And that
was a good tag team.
It really did a great job. They're fantastic. Speaking of which, they're having a luncheon tomorrow, showing what they are doing and everything. I think it's at the Maitland Presbyterian Church. On the 28th, we're having another meeting of the statewide council on the opioid abatement. That will be a Zoom meeting. I think that all of you know that I was appointed on that board, but maybe you do or don't know that the Attorney General, who is the designated chairman of it, has asked our own sheriff to be her designated representative to be the chairman. So of a 10-member board in the state of Florida on opioid abatement, 2 of us from Seminole County are on that board. Also on the 30th, we have the India Fest at the Hindu temple in Castleberry. I think it's on Lake Avenue, and it'll be most of the day. And I believe that the Rotary of Lake Mary's doing the Taste of Lake Mary. So everybody's doing a taste in one form or another over this time of year. And I did want to congratulate our softball team. We had 2 teams in the Lynx tournament, and one of the teams came in third. After losing the first game, they won the next 3 and came in third place. So congratulations to them. I don't know which of the 2 teams. I don't know if they had 2 different names, A and B, 1 and 2. I just know that one of them came in third, and that's great. I also wanted to congratulate an organization that we're part of, and I know the chairman, representatives, but the Greater Orlando Sports Commission and all of us, Central Florida being ranked the #1 sports business city for attracting and hosting events is big. It's huge. And we know in Seminole County, because we have made it a priority of sports tourism, and clearly this is going to be something that will be of great benefit to not only our tourist industry, but also our business industry. And so I'm very excited about that. And also, happy Easter, everybody.
Thank you, Commissioner Constantine. Next up is District 4, Commissioner Lockhart.
A good bit of my time the last couple of weeks has been spent on the canvassing board. That's coming to a close. So we have 2 more canvassing board meetings, one on this Friday, which should be relatively efficient, and then next Tuesday is the actual manual audit, where one precinct is chosen. I drew the short straw and literally drew the number out of the hat and selected, of course, one of the largest precincts in Seminole County for a manual audit. So do not take me to Las Vegas with you. I really am grateful to Andrew Lanus from the County Attorney's Office, who has really stepped in beautifully as the attorney for the canvassing board, working with the Supervisor of Elections attorney. That seems to be a pretty symbiotic relationship there, and he's doing great work. So thank you to Andrew for sitting there. There's a lot of hurry up and wait on the canvassing board. If you've never served, it's just, you just wait for the next ballot to come in that needs to be duplicated, and sometimes that takes hours, but you have to be there just in case that one might come in. And so a lot of opportunity for shenanigans there. I also, with the new appointment, my new appointments, thanks to the chairman for being placed on links, and the Central Florida Commuter Rail Commission. The first Commuter Rail Commission meeting that I will have the opportunity to attend is this Thursday. The meetings continue to be canceled, so thank you all very much for giving very clear direction today and earlier in our meeting, so that makes my job on the Commuter Rail Commission much easier when I can go there with clear direction from this board as to how we're going to participate in that regional endeavor. Had a lot of opportunities to meet with Secretary Tyler, of course, getting up to speed, who's our District 5 Secretary for Transportation, and appreciate his willingness to really, I'm going to say, cram 10 pounds of potatoes in a 5-pound sack. I cleaned that up in my head before I said it. That was pretty impressive, wasn't it? Yeah. There's just a lot to learn. As Commissioner Delary knows, it's a very complex topic. And again, our staff, John Drudge and Burjesh from the County Attorney's Office, have also done a great job. And thank you, Darren Gray, for working with all of the other county managers in this region and the funding partners to make sure that we had an agreement that was maybe not perfect, by any stretch perfect, but was a lot better than where we were headed. And so I give you all great credit as the administrators of these various organizations for being able to pull that together for us. Let's see. I know that you're going to be doing an update on Rosenwald for us. I wanted to say Mr. Irvin Simpson was here earlier today from the community, kind of checking in, looking to see where are things with Rosenwald, because there was a community meeting that had been scheduled and was canceled. And so what I shared with him and what I would share with anybody who is interested in that redevelopment project is that there will be a community meeting rescheduled. There were some timing and some issues of getting some briefings with our board done before that meeting, and so thank you to that community again for their incredible patience. We have not forgotten about you. Things are still moving forward, but that meeting will be rescheduled, and we'll do ample time to advertise that so everyone can get it on their calendar. I will be attending the Central Florida Zoo Board of Trustees meeting this week, along with the Lynx and Sunrail meetings. Also, the Orlando Business Journal is having their Women Who Mean Business celebration recognition event this week, and our own Commissioner Andrea Herr has been named one of Central Florida's Women Who Mean Business. And
I appreciate you using the real term for it as opposed to what my husband calls it.
And what does your husband refer to it as?
My husband refers to it as mean women in business. And he's just using it over and over and over again, so I apologize, OBJ.
But I love it, so I'm glad I was actually able to say it correctly. It is a great honor. We are very proud of you.
Thank you.
And it is something to be celebrated for sure. Are you going to talk about wellness at all?
I could, but go ahead.
Well, I just wrote it down because...
I'll keep talking because I'm last and I don't have anything to say.
Well,
Keep going.
I know. So, we have, if you're on the employee, on the county's health plan, there's a point system, and Patty and I were talking about, the time is drawing where everybody's supposed to be getting their different things done for their wellness activities to make sure that they have their points, and I had to remind myself of the things that I needed to do, and so as just probably TMI, but I went and got my mammogram last week so that, everybody's got to do their part to get their points. And there are 2 opportunities in April for virtual appointments that employees can hop on. I think it's April 3rd, 2 different times, to learn about the things that need to be done to get your wellness points so that you can get a discount on your health insurance premium at the county. So not bragging, just trying to lead by example. I did my duty to get a couple of points for that fabulous activity. And I think that is all I have. I'm going to end it on a mammogram.
Thank you, Commissioner Lockhart, and by leading by example, but I must say, I will not be seeking a mammogram.
Might I recommend a colonoscopy?
Well, actually, TMI, that's already scheduled.
Good job.
Next up, Commissioner District 5.
So I'll pick up where you left off on the wellness, and just a message to the employees. It is I can't explain this. I've been in this industry for years and years, and we cannot get humans to do the right thing by their own selves, to engage in wellness, but man, you attach a payroll deduction reduction in it, and somehow we are all looking at points and counting it. So I don't know if that comes from our upbringing and the nun sticking the gold star on my head or whacking my fingers. I don't know which it is, but it is not about the payroll deduction. It's about a change to your lifestyle, right? It's about improving how you live and how long you live and what those years look like. And so it is absolutely proven that screenings can change the trajectory of a diagnosis. A level 1 diagnosis is different from a level 4 diagnosis. And so that's what this program is about. I think we've upgraded the program considerably. I give Christina Brandolini and her team an incredible amount of credit for making sure that we're focused on the right thing. So, and I think I might already have my points, but I bet you I get a call afterwards saying, you think you do, but you don't. I actually have a question for all of us. I think that we were all on the receiving end of an email with regard to interest in determining a better way to address panhandling in our county. It was a District 4 resident, and I think I have been told that it's being worked by my aide, so I am doing nothing on it, but I am greatly interested in this topic because it is getting out of hand.
So I will, yes, I'm very interested. In fact, when Bryant was here, and I passed it off to the new county attorney, that I asked them to look at the Lee County and 2 other counties who've both been challenged in court, because we've been told by our previous county attorneys that what we had was substantial, and we went any further, it could be challenged in court, and yet Lee County, and I can't remember the other county at the time, have been challenged, and both have stood the trial test, and I ask our county staff attorneys to look at that. So I'm not sure where that's at. I don't mean to put you on the spot, but it's on my tickler list and my original list that I handed to you when you first came on board.
So I don't remember the Lee County discussion, but I can tell you panhandling is a constitutionally protected activity.
Correct.
So there's only so much we can do. I was also on the receiving end of those emails, and from what I read in the emails, I don't think they were violating any laws or ordinances, and were conducting their constitutional rights to ask for money. But we can certainly look at those ordinances from the other communities. We do have to be very careful what we put in place, because there is a very broad body of law that grants people the rights to do this. Right now, our ordinance prohibits what we refer to as aggressive panhandling, if there's some sort of physical threat to a person in connection to their asking for financial assistance or money or whatever the activity is, which the county attorney's office has taken the position that that's an enforceable ordinance. We will need to look at the case law with regard to Lee County. If it's been challenged, there should be something out there that we can look at and circle back and see if there's anything else we can do.
I think my recollection was Mr. David Shields was on point on that.
Correct. Correct.
So that's my recollection. Commissioner Lockhart, see what you started.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
It's important.
it did come from a citizen in a situation in my district, and this is one of those situations where when citizens send emails to all of us not knowing, so that we don't know that every office has received the same email, all of our offices start working issues, and there's some duplication of effort. So I've already talked to Under Sheriff Tomio about this because of some of the comments that were made by the Sheriff's Office employee. That is what actually directed those emails to us, because the comment was made that the county's ordinance was unenforceable and the county needed to do something different with our ordinance. And that was apparently the verbal of opinion of a deputy sheriff to the citizen. And if I was a citizen and someone had shared that with me, I would think that that was the case as well. So I think that can't tell if you're opening your mouth to tell me to stop talking.
No.
Okay.
I would never do that.
Well, I just want oh, you could. I'm just wondering, oh my gosh, am I saying something I shouldn't be saying? But I think from the undersheriff's perspective, he has read all those emails. He and the sheriff are intimately involved. They've talked with the county manager and the county attorney's office. It is, our office continues to be in conversation with the concerned citizen, and there are some other things that are happening there to alleviate concerns regarding, I think there were some children out there as well, so. Yes.
And if I could just follow up, you jogged my memory, which is why I opened my mouth, that I did have a conversation with the general counsel for the sheriff's office as well, because I too was concerned with the messaging that was going on, or that was relayed in the email anyway. And I think that there was going to be an effort internally to change that messaging on the sheriff's part too. That's what I was told, so.
And I'll add in, since this is an important topic. So when Commissioner Lockhart brought this up to my attention, I meet with the sheriff regularly. I think you all know that. So this is something that I'll be talking with him about as well, and then working with Ms. Latour's office, and we'll bring something back.
And I'll make sure the notes in my office get forwarded back to the county attorney's office on the work product that we had started with the previous county attorney. I've had, probably all of us have had in each one of our districts. I've had my district, I've had people from Constantine's district call me and say they can't get any help, et cetera, et cetera. And I think at one time, there was some discussion between the then county attorney and the sheriff's attorney or counsel that they weren't necessarily in agreement with each other
Right.
as to enforceability, verbiage, and I'll leave it at that. I don't want to speak out of turn of what each of them thought, but there was some conversation along those lines.
So I hope not to open up a can of worms with every single item that I bring up, but I would tag on to the end of that I would appreciate understanding someone may have a constitutional right to panhandle. I would love to also understand if they have a constitutional right to stand out there with their school-age children on the side of a highway panhandling, because I would argue that, and I might be willing to go to court over that. So I offer that to you for food for thought. And that seems to be the new MO. It's not me with whatever this noise is. I've moved everything I can move, so. Is it you?
We're all.
So the pace that it's picking up, we really need to understand what we can and can't do. And if we can't do anything, then perhaps we need an educational campaign to the citizens in this community to not enable it. And that may sound harsh, but that's our reality, because handing something out the window to somebody doesn't necessarily help the situation, and it's actually only endangering those kids. So we need to get in front of this in some meaningful way.
Agreed.
Commissioner Hurt, can I just add to one thing? Now that we also have the law on the tents and the homeless and everything, should we do a holistic look at all of this right now and update, or not update, but potentially update all of our ordinances, that, what we have to do and what we must do? Because, we all get it. I mean, and it's hard to sit there and tell a citizen, I'm sorry, we can't do anything about it except go there and make sure that they're not being aggressive in
Yeah,
their
Commissioner,
ask.
that's already being done, actually, with the passage of the public camping, public sleeping bill.
Thank you.
We're looking at our trespassing ordinance, our panhandling ordinance. All of these things are being reexamined in light of the new statute, in light of, the case law that's already out there.
Thank you, Commissioner Hur. Thank you.
It would be my preference that it didn't get wrapped up into, that my request did not get wrapped up into any holistic anything, because that just sounds like 4 years to me,
No.
and I'm not getting any younger.
And to that point, where the Lee County ordinance differs from what we have is the use of medians in a dangerous fashion, interacting with moving cars as compared to parked cars. And that's where
And exit ramps.
yes,
We're seeing it in my
how they,
district, it's exit
basically it's a
ramps.
use of public medians in narrow areas of the roadway that pose a public safety hazard. that Lee County was successful in moving forward. Assistant County Attorney.
Yeah, I can probably provide some insight to this. I worked at Lee County, and also I've looked at particular ordinances regarding panhandling, and you're absolutely right, Chairman. The most recent wave of ordinances that have come out have focused on more time, place, and manner restrictions, and the way they've done that is taking a holistic traffic look at intersections and pedestrian and vehicle interactions, and determining from a safety standpoint where are there the most pedestrian vehicle interactions, accidents, and then looking at the width of the median, how wide, and looking at the safety concerns of people being within that area. That takes you away from the constitutional issues with restricting panhandling and puts you more on a health, safety, welfare, time, place, manner restriction, which is where you would need to be, which is where some of these restrictions are trending. So just to kind of give you an update on, that's been the most recent trend. It probably will it requires a study, to look at these intersections and those interactions, but just want to provide that to you.
No, thank you very much. I asked, where were you 3 years ago?
And we're glad you're here now.
Yes, thanks for landing.
All right, I'm going to keep going if
Yes,
that's
please.
okay. The
Yes.
next one is a good news report, and that is that on the 14th CFX board meeting, the Central Florida Expressway Authority board meeting, they did approve the final ranking and authorization for the project development and environmental study on the proposed 417 Sanford Airport connector. I have had a request from my appointee to the Seminole County Library Advisory Board. Their group is that advisory board is interested in moving their meetings to every other month as opposed to monthly. They feel as though that may have run into some roadblocks based on hurricanes, and I'm asking that we relook at that, because they feel like they're coming back to the meeting and hearing the same thing again, and that we're not necessarily using the citizens' times efficiently. So if we can go to every other month or as need, every other month plus as needed to accommodate a bad weather scenario where the Library Advisory Board would need to meet on an emergency basis, that would be awesome. I just wanted to give a shout out to our own Kaylee Slattery, who did a great job at the legislative update. We have 6 houses that are, 5 of them are already out of the ground and look like the speed is amazing, that Habitat for Humanity is building in Goldsboro. The 6th one will come out of the ground probably this week, and it is one of the first times that they've put in a small community. And that was facilitated by a partnership between us with the infrastructure funds to do we're literally cutting a road into a lot, and the underground drainage, et cetera. The city of Sanford is providing sewer and water and habitat, so it's amazing. It's amazing to see it. And then I did a ribbon cutting for the eagle habitat, and a big shout out to Fairwinds Credit Union for funding that habitat and the 2 eagles that are in there. They are free roaming eagles, and the main question at hand for everyone was, why are they in a zoo? They are injured birds that cannot fly and cannot survive on their own, so they have a beautiful habitat there. So shout out to the zoo for the good work that they're doing for those animals, and Fairwinds for funding it. And that concludes my report.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Hart. Thank you very much for reigniting the conversation on the panhandling issue. All right, I'm going to try to incorporate both of mine together. First and foremost, reminding everybody about the Seminole County Vendor Fair. It's in honor of March being Procurement Month. Seminole County welcomes vendors to participate in the 2024 Annual Vendor Fair at the Lake Mary Event Center this Thursday, March 28th, from 1 to 4 p.m. This unique gathering offers vendors the chance to connect with various Seminole County departments, our municipalities, health departments, Sanford Airport, and Seminole County Public Schools to explore potential procurement opportunities. It's currently sold out, so if you're a vendor and you want to get in,
Next year.
there's no room next year. But this really is a good way for small businesses to interact with the cities, the county, the school board, to understand if there is a product or service they offer that could be a benefit, and the procedures thereof on how to get involved, how to use technology and so forth to make that happen. Also, quick reminder, April 5th at 4 p.m. is the Justice Perry Annex, Judicial Annex grand opening here in Sanford. It'll be at 91 Esslinger Way. I'm sure all of us will be there, and I think a lot of the judicial folks will be there, a lot of people from the Bar Association, but it is open to the public. I also want to remind everyone, for the public, Board of County Commission retreat is April 1st at 9 a.m. That'll be at the new annex on the second floor in the training room. It is open to the public. It starts at 9 a.m. and the commission will be there, and of course, many staff members will be there as well. I attended, as Commissioner Constantine alluded to, at the Wide World of Sports complex out at Disney on March 18th, the press conference with ESPN on the greater Orlando area being named as the #1 sports area in the entire country. Really big award, big issue, amazing. You know, here in Seminole County, I think the numbers are we had over 250,000 sports-related tourism visitors last year alone, for a total of about $62 million in economic impact. And leveraging that with our regional partners in both Orange and Osceola County really is a special thing in a special area that's, quite frankly, not done in a lot of places around this country. You know, each one of us have our own venues, if you will, and we find ourselves in Seminole County as a pretty unique, what I would say, gem. You know, we don't have all the big venues like Disney and all those theme parks. What we do have is we have one of the #1 youth sports programs in the country. And #2, when those folks are tired of going to theme parks, we have the natural Florida. They can go kayaking and canoeing and see what really Florida's nature and wildlife's really about. And of course, we have one of the only zoos in the Central Florida region outside of Brevard County. Outside of that, I would look to my fellow commissioners to get approval to write a letter thanking the governor and the board and the cabinet for approving the Yarborough purchase. If I have that direction, I will work with staff to get that drafted and copy everybody on that to get out there.
Absolutely.
It's really a great accomplishment. I know we've talked about it already today, but it really is, you know, a great thing for not only the citizens of this county, but the citizens of the entire state who will come for future generations to enjoy that property. It's great for the wildlife corridor. It's also great for the quality of water in the Econ Water Basin and the St. Johns Water Basin, and hopefully other counties will be able to, you know, do the similar things down along that corridor of the St. Johns River for all the reasons we know. I've also asked Mr. Gray to reach out to the state and coordinate with the Yarborough family. I was approached by the Yarborough family, and they are desirous of leaving many of their treasures dating back to the 1800s to be put in a museum, cattle related, whether that be saddles, memoirs, things of family diaries, those kinds of things that tell a lot of history of Seminole County as far as a cattle and agricultural community. So I've asked him if he would be kind enough to reach out to them, have that conversation, whether the state wants to take it over, or take those items, or we take those items, coordinate with our historical people and find out if those are of importance and relevance that we'd want to take on. Commissioner Lockhart.
So I'm going to speak up because silence is consent.
Yeah.
This sounds eerily like some buggies that we
No.
wound up. No, I'm just saying, because it sounds wonderful.
Sure.
Like, yeah, we want the artifacts and the history, and it's great, and love the Yarboroughs and all the stuff. But before we know it, this board is saying, oh, yes, that sounds great. And then we wind up with 40 buggies in various states of repair and nowhere to store them.
Right.
And a huge commitment. So I just want to make sure that before we start giving the county manager to give some kind of direction on the artifacts, that we not commit to anything
Sure.
through that process.
So I would say, based on my observation, they would all fit in one buggy. That
Yeah,
said,
I'm not looking for
that's-
things to store in the buggies.
No, understood. I got that. There's plenty of things we can store in the buggies. We could start right up here on the dais, I think. But that said, all I was asking them to do is reach out, coordinate, see if it's of any benefit. If it is, come tell us what it is, or have the state take care of whatever they want to do, if they do, and I don't know that answer.
It's a lovely sentiment.
Sure. Okay. Great. All right, next item I will bring is item 35, board appointments. Juan Salgado is resigning from the Seminole County Board of from the Seminole County Advisory Board on Aging and Agency on Aging, and I am going to ask to appoint Carla Ratka for a term that will expire 12/31/24.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any conversation? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed, like sign? Seeing none, motion carries. Next, we will go to public comment. If there is anyone here from the public that is going to comment on non-agenda items, you will need to fill one of these forms out. See the clerk up here, Dominic, and we'll get you up here. You'll have 3 minutes to speak. Under board policies, public input at the end of the meeting is limited to 30 minutes, so we'll ask you to be efficient. Try not to repeat what somebody else is saying, and we'll get you all moving here as quick as we can. Ms. Dominic, who's the first person?
First will be Cheryl Johnson, and then Ryan Allen.
If both of you would get started up here, Cheryl first, and second was Mr. Allen. You'll line up behind there, and we'll get you moved right through here. I need you to state your name and address for the record, please.
Sure. I have some trade-offs too. I don't know.
You can give it to
Sure,
the
if you can
clerk.
get it to the clerk. Thank you.
I'm Sherry Johnson. My address is 172 Williams Road, Lake Mary. So I'm representing a group of concerned Seminole County citizens. We respectfully request the board to consider putting the proposed Seminole County Bill of Rights Sanctuary County Ordinance on the agenda for the next meeting. There have been many very concerning events that have happened in the U.S. in the last few years. Currently, President Biden is preparing to sign the WHO pandemic agreement, which would give the WHO the ability to control not just the U.S., but the whole world. This proposed international agreement would allow unelected, unknown, and unaccountable bureaucrats the power to make decisions that would deeply impact the lives of everyone on Earth. This ordinance is about learning from the past and moving forward, using that knowledge. Why do we need to make Seminole County a Bill of Rights Sanctuary County? This ordinance would act as a protective shield over Seminole County. With the passage of this ordinance in Seminole County, we are saying no to unconstitutional state, federal, and international overreach. Our rights are being trampled. This proposed ordinance is nonpartisan and constitutional. It was written by Christina Hosier, a constitutional lawyer from Collier County, and was passed there in August 2023 by their Board of County Commissioners and Sheriff. It will protect Board of County Commissioners, all elected officials, and the citizens of Seminole County. Other counties nationwide are working with their commissioners and sheriff to help pass it too. The ordinance will protect us from suppression of free speech and free press. When they are suppressed, it will lead to the death of our republic. The lack of free speech and free press prevented the truth from being revealed regarding the C-19 pandemic, resulting in more people dying. Removal of our Second Amendment rights to bear arms, circumventing our right to due process. Due process must be in place to assure all of our rights are upheld. Federal and state governments censoring social media and internet search engines are unconstitutional. Discriminatory closing of churches, public parks, beaches, and prohibiting the right to peacefully assemble cannot be dictated by federal or state governments. We must incorporate what we learned to create a constitutional plan to protect the citizens of Seminole County. Over time, the Board of County Commissioners will change. It may not always be made up of conservative constitutional leaders like we have today. The truth is finally being revealed regarding the last 4 years. Hindsight is 20/20. Citizens count on elected officials to uphold their oath to protect the rights given to us by our Creator. The County Commissioner's oath, backed by citizen support, protect our freedom. By passing this ordinance in Seminole County, it creates a protective shield over our county, where we declare no matter what happens at the state, federal, and international level, our county follows the Constitution and Bill of Rights. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Johnson. Next, folks, please.
Thank you. My name is Ryan Allen. I reside at 2493 North Armory Drive in Sanford, Florida. Thank you all for letting me have a moment to speak.
Certainly.
The reason why I'm speaking is basically, even though I support the things that Ms. Johnson just named, it's really about the fact that in looking at my understanding of the Constitution, as I've been taught and learned, the Constitution really is something that is from the bottom up. But yet it seems that the way that the Constitution is being applied across our nation is from the top down. And yet it's supposed to be we the people, it's the individual. We look at individual rights that are recognized as God-given. These individual rights start with the individual. As the individuals grow into a community, we then have a community of people that still have God-given rights that are not given by man. As the community grows, the community becomes a city. The city then becomes a county. The county, of course, a state. The state becomes the union. I think we've lost a lot of that. I think part of it is because of the fact that we have abdicated our own responsibility because it's a government for the people, by the people, and through the people. A lot of us don't even know that, and we've forgotten it, those of us that do. We're awake now. So all we're doing is looking to make sure that those things aren't trampled on. Now, whether we have a great governor right now who hasn't been trampling our rights, what happens when he's not here? Because we know in Florida you can only serve 2 consecutive terms. So what if we get a governor that is tyrannical? What do we do then? So the reason that we look for these things to reassert an ordinance that's just reminding us what the Constitution already says is because we've seen from the past that when certain things come up that we don't know, they're novel, then what happens is we forget. And then we step on the Constitution when we shouldn't. So that's the reason why we're here to talk about this. That's what we want to. We thank you for the time that you've given us and ask that you would allow us to at least get this on the agenda to talk about in the future. That's all we're looking for now. I want to thank you for your time.
Thank you. I know many of you are here, if you're here for this item, and how passionate all of us are about our individual rights. I would just ask, if you agree with what's being said, just raise your hand with a thumbs up instead of clapping and yelling out loud. It would be very helpful. Thank you very much. Next speaker?
That is the end of the speakers.
That's the end of speakers. Okay. Well, I want to thank all of you very much for being here today. We sincerely appreciate the open forum and giving you all the opportunity to speak. That's why we're here, and we soon cannot forget that although many of us have differences in our society, that we do have the ability to come together peacefully and discuss such matters, whether it be everything that was on the agenda today or anything that happens in the open forum. We're thankful that we're able to do that as Americans and those that paid the ultimate price for us to be able to do that. So thank you all very much for being here. Anything else for the good of the order from the commission? Management? Yes, sir. All good? All good. We will be adjourned. Thank you.